Hello everyone, it's History Behind the Warrior, and welcome back to yet another Mortal Kombat 1 video. With us only 2 days away from that highly anticipated Mortal Kombat 1 reveal, we actually got a tidbit of news of what to expect from that trailer. Because what kind of Mortal Kombat reveal would it be if it wasn't for the Master Troll himself, Ed Boon, to throw a few hints and curveballs our way? Because earlier today, at the crack of dawn, Ed decided to go on Twitter and cause a little bit of an uproar of what we may see. And really, this all started off from Jeff Keighley, who was given the Mortal Kombat 1 gameplay trailer and tweeted the following, saying Ed Boon about to blow the roof off the YouTube theater on Thursdays, with Ed replying, and well, I think the gift speaks for itself here. Either way, things are looking extremely promising on that front. But of course, the tweets don't end there. Ed of course went on to tease. Phew, that gameplay video though. Again, Ed, why? But the tweets that really caught my attention here was when Ed tweeted out cameos and combos and breakers. Now, on a gameplay front, this could actually entail a number of different things. First off, touching on the cameo system. Of course, for those who may be uninformed, the main somewhat gameplay gimmick of this Mortal Kombat game will be the cameo system, something that is presumably replacing the previous game's variation system. Whilst that is yet to be confirmed, we do know that this game specifically won't be your traditional 1v1. Instead, functioning more as a tag fighter, where you can presumably bring in your ally to help you in battle. Up to what extent, however, is the true question, as it very well could function like a Dragon Ball FighterZ or Ultimate Marvel vs Capcom 3 thing, or maybe function as a Project L tag mechanic, where it is strictly just assists. Nothing is currently concrete in stone. Next we have combos, and well, it's a fighting game. If anything, I'm more so interested just how the combo system works in this game. And of course, something I do want to highlight, breakers. Something that everyone has kind of been asking for, as breakaways just didn't really work for Mortal Kombat 11. Thus, the return of breakers is most certainly welcomed. And if we actually look at this tweet, if you really think about it, these are all things we've kind of asked for. After Mortal Kombat 9, a lot of us, and I mean a lot of us, asked for the possible return of the tag mechanic. And I do like that Mortal Kombat 1 is at least taking the time to explore this experimental mechanic. I can only hope and pray, however, that it works as well in game as it would on paper. As for combos, these things needed to return. There was something just so different with how the combo system worked in MKX in comparison to MK11. Not just in terms of longevity, but actually the sheer explosive and creative nature behind each and every character. Every character here had multiple options with how they wished to approach gameplay, and how players could express their own creativity. 11 was far too strict in that regard, as the variation system kind of limited some of the few select options you had. As whilst typically the base toolkit was well rounded, it was essentially the special moves that were the icing on the cake here. So I hope they've taken that criticism into account, and has that bleed through into Mortal Kombat 1. As for breakers, I've already touched on those. Easily welcomed return. And this tweet caught me by surprise, as he tweeted out, saying some making their way back into action. This is the Mortal Kombat 4 roster, being composed of older legacy characters, with a mesh of interesting and new generation characters. So for funsies, let's actually go through them one by one and talk about the likelihood of their return. Now starting off, we do of course have Kai. Now, a majority of you may not actually be familiar with Kai, and not that I blame you. Kai has only ever historically made 2 appearances in the Mortal Kombat universe. The first being here in Mortal Kombat 4, and his final appearance being in Armageddon. He's a largely forgettable character that's, like many from the Shaolin Monastery, couldn't live up to Liu Kang's legacy. Thus, he was one of the introduced Shaolin characters that slipped to the wayside and that just no one ever heard from again. So is Kai coming back? No. Raiden is already confirmed, but now we have Shinnok, the fallen Elder God, and primary antagonist of Mortal Kombat 4 and X. And as big of a threat as I can see Shinnok being, I feel like with the premise and story we have at hand, I don't know if enemies or Elder Gods of all really fall into Liu Kang's vision here. Thus, I don't see Shinnok's chances being particularly too high. However, I could see him being maybe a cameo of sorts, like maybe a DLC character that isn't strictly tied to the narrative. Now going back to the tweet, we of course have Liu Kang, and then we have Reptile, a huge fan favorite, whose absence has really been felt. And whilst he's only ever been briefly integral to the plot, I feel like if you were ever to go for a safe pick on the roster, Reptile's definitely a good and safe choice. We then of course have Scorpion here, and then Jax. And again, if we're going back to safe picks, the chances of a character like Jax making it in is naturally pretty damn high. He's simply an OG fan favorite character. Now moving on, we have one of my personal favorite picks here, Reiko. And this is a character that I've been advocating for a very long time, because if there was a character to pick up where Shao Kahn had left off, Reiko is actually a really good choice for this, as he was originally a huge fanboy of the Emperor. But I think he got a really strong showing during the Mortal Kombat X comic book series, where his cunning nature was put on full display, with him obtaining godhood and becoming an extremely powerful adversary to both Outworld and Earthrealm. Thus, I think an exhibition like this is more than enough of a reason to have him return in this game. Plus, we haven't actually seen him since Armageddon. Now back to the roster, we do have Johnny Cage, who has more or less been confirmed at this point. And of course, everyone's favourite flailing man, Jarek. Can I see this one happening? Not really, but I can't deny that the possibility of this actually kind of exists. Because due to the sheer popularity of memes in pop culture, I mean, look what happened with Ultra Instinct Shaggy, right? A character like Jarek, who I find insanely lame, could actually make it into the game on that reason alone. So do I think his chances are pretty high here? I do, but maybe strictly as a cameo fighter. Keep him as an assist at best. I don't need to explore that moveset. Now next here, we do have Tanya, and this is actually a character that I could maybe see return here. She's definitely not as popular as the other Edenian. I think that currently her only saving grace to make it here are her ties and romance to Melina. Outside of that, I don't really see Tanya returning. Maybe again, at best being a cameo, but I think that's probably as far as it does go. I'm neither for or against this character's return. I just think out of all of the other Edenians they have to pick from, she just kind of winds up at the back of the list. Now next, we do have Fujin here. And man, we need this guy in like more games. With the incredibly popular reception that Fujin had, I'd say that his chances are pretty damn high, especially with how long people have been waiting for him. But knowing Mortal Kombat, with him being regulated as DLC, I don't know if that entirely means he'll make base roster. I love Fujin. I actually like him way more than Raiden. But seeing as Raiden's already on the roster, I don't know if Fujin will make the cuts here, despite how badly I want him to be on there. He's a really cool character, and I've never hoped to have been more wrong about this opinion. Now moving on, we do have Kuai Liang here, and could I see him being in-game? I don't entirely know, if my theory is at all correct. With the Sub-Zero we see in the trailer being Bi-Han, then I don't think there'd be much of a reason for a character like Kuai Liang to be here. Don't get me wrong, I love Kuai Liang, but we have seen a lot of him from Mortal Kombat 2 onwards. So I'm perfectly fine if he's upstaged by his brother, at least for this one game. Moving on, we then have Quan Chi, and I definitely think that this is a character that's going to return. Quan is a villain you just absolutely love to hate. And the thing is, if Hanzo Hisashi is immortal in this game, then you just know that Quan Chi has to come into the fold in one way, shape and form. The guy's just a straight up asshole, and I love his character for that. And just considering the sheer impact that Quan has had on the rest of the franchise, especially from Deadly Alliance up to Mortal Kombat X. He has been pivotal to the series in just so many different ways. Now, as we come to the last character on this list here, we of course do have Sonya Blade. And kind of like Jax, this is a safe pick for the roster. You can't really go wrong with Sonya here. So right now, whilst we don't know all of the details, things are looking extremely promising, including a trailer reveal that may show off way more characters than what we had anticipated. Honestly, I was just expecting to see the character model, as well as maybe Johnny and Sonya, but judging by the amount of hype behind this, as well as the tease from the MK4 roster, I think we're gonna see so much more than what we had expected. But with that said, everyone, what are your current thoughts on this tease, as well as the Mortal Kombat 4 roster that Ed has teased us about? Who would you like to see return, or be repackaged in a different way? And gameplay wise, what are you the most excited to see? Please do comments down below, as I'd also love to hear what you have to say. But for now, everyone, that's been it for me. So as always, stay strong, stay well, and keep on fighting, as we're only 2 days away from that gameplay reveal. Take care, everyone. I'll see you all soon.